I jolted awake, heart pounding and soaked in sweat. The darkness in my room felt wrong, heavier than usual. Like it was closing in on me, I sat up, blinking rapidly, trying to make sense of the sudden weight pressing against my chest. Everything was silent, too silent. The familiar sounds of the city outside, the cars passing, the distant hum of life, were completely gone. Instead, the silence was thick, almost suffocating, as if the air itself had turned against me. I reached for my phone on the nightstand, needing the glow of its screen to ground me. My fingers slid over cold wood. The phone wasn't there. My breath hitched. I fumbled in the dark, but the nightstand felt strange, like the wood was soft, almost decaying beneath my touch. I sat there frozen, listening to the silence that now seemed to have a pulse of its own. This is just a dream, I told myself, my voice cracking in my head. But the familiar warmth of my room was gone, replaced by an oppressive cold emptiness that seeped into my bones. I needed to wake up. I threw the covers off and stood up, my legs shaky beneath me. The floor was cold, colder than it should be. As I stepped into the hallway, a sickening realization crawled over me. The hallway, normally short and cozy, stretched impossibly far. The walls seemed to bow inward, twisting in ways that made my stomach churn. The ceiling had dropped, just slightly, but enough to make me feel like I had to hunch. This is a dream. This is just a dream, I whispered out loud, trying to hear something, anything to break the unbearable silence. My voice sounded weak, swallowed by the darkness. I moved forward, my steps slow and hesitant. But the more I walked, the farther the hallway seemed to stretch, bending in unnatural ways. The shadows clung to the walls like they were alive, shifting just out of the corner of my eye. A cold sweat broke out on my skin as I quickened my pace. I reached the first door, my bedroom door. I yanked at the knob, but it wouldn't budge. Locked. My heart raced faster. I tried another door down the hallway, and then another. Locked. Every door I passed was sealed shut. I slammed my fists against them, the wood groaning under my desperate hits, but none of them gave way. Behind me, something whispered. It was soft, like a breath close to my ear, barely a sound but unmistakable. My name. Someone had whispered my name. I whipped around, my heart hammering in my chest, but there was no one there. Just the dark, twisting hallway behind me. The shadows seemed to be moving again, writhing, like they were alive, crawling closer. My skin prickled with dread, every instinct screaming at me to run. I broke into a sprint, feet pounding against the floor, but the hallway stretched on, impossibly long. The walls seemed to pulse, pressing in closer with every step. Doors flashed by on either side, each one locked, trapping me in this endless, suffocating corridor. I yanked on every door I passed, desperation clawing at me, but nothing opened. The whispers grew louder, closer, my name echoing in dozens of voices now, each one more sinister, more hungry than the last. I could feel it. Them. The things in the shadows. They were following me, creeping closer with every second. Finally, one of the doors gave way. I crashed through it, stumbling into the room beyond. My bedroom. Relief washed over me for a split second. Everything looked normal. The familiar comfort of my bed, my lamp, the soft glow of the street light filtering through the curtains. I leaned against the door, gasping for breath. I must have woken up. I had to be awake now. But something wasn't right. The air felt too still. The room too quiet. I turned slowly, and my eyes landed on the mirror across from the bed. For a moment, I just stared, blinking, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. My reflection wasn't moving. I froze, cold fear seeping into my veins. I stepped closer to the mirror, watching the version of myself standing there, still as stone. My heart pounded louder in my ears, my breath coming in shallow gasps. My reflection should have been moving, blinking, breathing, but it wasn't. Then it smiled. The reflection's mouth curled into a slow, unnatural grin, stretching wider than it should have. My stomach lurched. I tried to move away, to step back, but my feet wouldn't obey. I was rooted to the spot, paralyzed with terror as I watched the thing in the mirror twist my features into something grotesque, something wrong. Its eyes were wrong too. Dark hollow, with a glint of malice that I could feel burning into my soul. It raised a hand, and my breath caught in my throat. The hand in the mirror moved slowly, deliberately, pressing against the glass as if it was trying to break through, trying to reach me. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. My throat burned with the effort. The reflection's smile widened, splitting its face in a way that made my skin crawl. Suddenly, the room darkened. The shadows in the corners seemed to grow, swirling together like a black fog, inching closer, enveloping the space around me. The reflection's eyes gleamed with delight as the darkness swallowed the room, and I could feel it now, the same malevolent presence from the hallway, creeping, watching, waiting. I bolted for the door, but it slammed shut with a deafening bang. I pounded on it, frantic, desperate to escape, but the door wouldn't open. The air grew colder, the shadows thickening around me, and the whispers started again, louder this time, filling my ears, filling my mind. They were everywhere. I turned back to the mirror, shaking with fear, and saw myself, no, the thing, on the other side, watching me with that same twisted smile, its eyes glinting in the darkness. Slowly it stepped back, fading into the blackness, until there was nothing left in the reflection but the empty, endless void. And I realized then, with a sickening certainty, that I hadn't woken up. I wasn't ever going to wake up. This was it. Trapped in this nightmare forever. Every attempt to escape, every door, every fleeting moment of hope would lead me back here, to this room, to this reflection, to the darkness that waited patiently to consume me. I backed up against the wall, my breath ragged, heart racing, and felt the shadows creeping closer, colder, thicker. There was no way out. The darkness had swallowed everything.